Hi, I'm Sherry from A Quilting Life. Welcome to my first YouTube video tutorial. I'm starting a series which will cover topics from beginner all the way to advanced. And today we're going to start with the perfect 1/4 inch seam. I've found when teaching that having a perfect 1/4 inch seam is something that really helps students improve their accuracy in quilting. Of course, you can start by measuring the 1/4 inch seam on something that you've sewn. If it's even a little bit off, you might want to make some adjustments. Another thing that you can do is cut two 1½ inch strips, sew them together, and take a measurement with your acrylic ruler. The strips should measure exactly 2½ inches sewn together. If they're a little bit off, you might need to make some adjustments. Now we'll go over to the sewing machine and I'll show you a few things that you can do at the machine. Once you're sitting at your machine, there are a few things you can do to double check your 1/4 inch seam allowance. The simplest thing to do is to sew a seam and measure it. I've got the 1/4 inch foot attached to my machine. However, when I measure the seam that I just sewed, it's actually a little bit larger than 1/4 inch. With my machine, I know that I can move my needle to the right or to the left. And I know that moving my needle 5 clicks to the left will give me a perfect 1/4 inch seam. My needle has adjusted ever so slightly, but it makes a big difference. Now when I measure, I'm just exactly at the 1/4 inch mark. One other thing you can do if you don't have a 1/4 inch foot is to use painter's tape. Remove the foot from your machine and slide an acrylic ruler underneath. Put your needle in the needle down position just to the right of the 1/4 inch mark on the ruler. Next, you'll need to use some painter's tape to make yourself a seam guide. By adding the painter's tape right next to your ruler, you have created a perfect guideline for a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just make sure that you don't put the painter's tape over the feed dogs on your machine. Now, whenever you sew, if you line up the fabrics with this painter's tape, you'll be sure to have a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. Thanks so much. I hope this tutorial was of a little bit of help for you today. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and we'll be back soon with more videos and tutorials. Thanks so much for stopping by.